And most importantly, being transgender isn't a problem we need to prevent or fix.
Okay. You're an idiot, Kodak. Being transgender is literally a problem for the person who's transgender.
Right.
That's why the suicide rate is so fucking high.
And so once I started passing, I expected things to get easier, and they did. People started treating me more like a girl, but I realized I wasn't fully comfortable with that either. I didn't like the fact that people would treat me entirely like a binary girl. I just didn't like being lumped in with everyone else there.
This is it. This is the peak insane gender bullshit. Okay. You have an individual who claims they have gender dysphoria. They successfully transition. They accomplish what many trans women desperately want. And that bothers her.
Right.
She's upset by it. She's like, wait a minute. I don't want to just be one of the girls. I want to be special.
I am special. God damn it.
I want to be different. No.
You're so triggered. Let's get into this video. What's going on?
Let's get into the video.
Hey, you folk! Here's some news. Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis fucking hate queer people. Goodbye. I'm just tickling your nuts. There is more video. We have fun here.
Is that where Lance got that stupid tickling your nuts thing?
Does he say that?
Lance says that all the time. Different variations of it. Tickle your scrotum, tickle your ball sack. I'm like, Lance, you really should stop saying that, okay? It's not funny. It's cringy.
Did he say that in any of our conversations?
Yes.
I don't remember. Okay.
Yes. He's definitely said it.
Well,
he said it on our stream, and I've heard him say it on multiple streams.
It's very weird. I don't know if this is true on the right too, but on BreadTube, you'll notice that they get those, like, someone will say something and then they all repeat it. There's like these various sayings that they all repeat. Non-political sayings, by the way. Like, you know, when Chud became very popular, they were all calling everyone Chuds.
Right.
It's just, it is strange. It's very cult-like.
Yeah. They're very uncreative people. That's the thing. I've said that before, and I stand by it.
As an artist, you say that, yes.
If you're a creative person, I mean, you're looking for new things, not copying what everyone else is doing.
Have fun here. I mean, except when we talk about crime or the IRS or racism or war, or in this episode, a horrendous removal of human rights that's being currently attempted by the GOP, who, as I said, sure seem to fucking hate queer people. In fact, we can just go ahead and make that the title of the episode.
He completely ignores the actual argument going on.
Right. Well, and
I
mean,
spoiler alert, none of the social contagion stuff or gender queer theory being taught to grade school kids, none of that is in here.
No. It's all just they hate the gays.
Yeah.
Though, you know, it's annoying because now they all use this term queer, which is so broad. It means
I'm
anything. Queer.
Yeah. Just, you know, if you're 20% soy, you're technically queer.
That's right. There you go, guys. I hope someone clipped that. Adam just said he's queer.
There we go. No, everyone who is claiming to be queer seems to just be a normal heterosexual person. Have you noticed this?
Yeah. Well, not everyone, but a lot, like 80%.
Gay people I don't hear gay people using the term queer.
Yeah, they say, I'm gay, right?
Yeah, I'm gay. I'm a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come out and say I'm queer. Queer is the people who are heterosexual and tired of being categorized as boring. They decide to say, guess what, guys? I think I'm queer.
There's a video we'll watch later in the stream where Cody goes after the Libs of TikTok account, obviously. You know, you got to throw everything in here. And there's a person that Libs of TikTok has a video of. And it's interesting because I looked at her TikTok account and she has a video that's so telling where I'm assuming she's a trans woman. And she says that she got mad because she was too good. She passed too well.
Yeah.
So her queer and trans friends stopped looking at her as queer and trans. They just looked at her as a cis woman, and that upset her. So that's why she started identifying as like non-binary and queer.
Yes.
I'm like, what the like? That's so telling, because most people who are not insane activists who have gender dysphoria, they just that's their dream. They want to they want to transition, and then they want to move on with their lives. They don't want to wallow in this gender identity, dreck. Like, your sexual orientation and your quote unquote gender identity should be the least interesting part of your personality or of you. And that's the problem. I think a lot of these activists, they want to substitute queerness as a personality, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, are we gonna watch that video? Because that video is insane.
Yeah, we'll watch that video when it comes up in stream. But
is it in the stream?
Well, no. I mean, when he brings up another video that she had, we'll watch it.
Do we have ability to watch that, or anyway?
Well, you'll have to do the thing you do when we watch stuff on Twitter.
God, I hate doing that. Anyway, so yeah, that video is so insane because, I mean, they call passing gender euphoria now. They've come up with the opposite of gender dysphoria is gender euphoria, where you feel great about how you're being perceived, how your gender is being perceived. But yes, this poor person, as soon as they are passing so well that everyone just assumes they're a cis woman, that completely offends them.
Right.
You're like, what?
It's got to be infuriating.
So sad.
For some people. Yes.
That's so sad.
Good title. Strong, direct, lots of E's and O's, or shoot, maybe it's more complicated than saying the entire GOP hates queer people, but also...
I think that's why they're using the queer people thing, is because queer is a political designation in the same way that they have done with race, black and white. They've turned, white, you know how black people can be white politically? What are they?
Yeah.
Queer basically means LGBT politically, even though you're heterosexual, male or woman, cis.
You're right. That's a path it can go down and has been going down. But I mean, originally queer is just like the super broad umbrella term to mean literally everything that's not straight. So that's how it started using the term.
90% of the people I see identifying as queer are straight. They literally are straight.
I understand that, but it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be basically anything that's not straight.
This is no. No. Make it stop, Sitch.
So, counterpoint. Maybe it isn't. Maybe there's some conservative people out there who claim to be cool with the L's and G's and B's and T's, but if those people still support and vote for the GOP, then guess what? And if you don't think the GOP is launching a serious attack against the rights of the queer community, then double guess what? They super are. Most notably, on March 11th, a Texas judge temporarily halted statewide investigations of parents with transgender children. This was after Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state officials to consider gender-affirming healthcare for trans youth, care like puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy, as child abuse. The judge in question, Amy Clark Meacham, ruled that Abbott's actions were unconstitutional due to the order violating the separation of powers by impermissibly encroaching into the legislative domain. So while this ruling is unquestionably good,
so this is the one part that I think there's just criticism here, is that this law, no, it wasn't even a law. It's the problem that Abbott tried to pass. I don't know if are you familiar with any of this?
No, and this is where I said, this is just shotgun claims being shot in our face here. I don't necessarily know the context of any of this stuff, and he hasn't explained it well. I mean, he just spent the first minute of the video poisoning the well. So.
I don't remember if he does explain it well, so I'll go over it.
Right. Texas court halts abuse inquiries into parents of transgender children. So what is the abuse inquiries?
So basically Abbott got someone whose name escapes me at the moment
And Abbott is the governor?
Abbott's the governor of Texas. Yeah.
Governor of Texas
Right.
halts abuse inquiries, but we don't know who is doing the inquiry.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay. So basically what happened was instead of Texas legislature passing a law that said, they don't want anyone under the age of 18, taking hormone blockers, taking cross-sex hormones, getting gender surgery or whatever, instead of doing like the normal legal process that generally the people on the right complain about, the left doesn't do. What Abbott did was he got the Department of, like the Child Services Department to classify via an administrative order that any sort of transgender, gender affirming care, such as puberty blockers or cross-sex hormones or surgery, is child abuse.
Okay. Strong move.
Right, a very strong move, not done through the normal legislative process. This is done purely through an executive agency.
Right.
And so they just sort of decide to classify any sort of transgender treatment basically as child abuse. And then they say that they're going to prioritize and go after the parents and any doctor whatsoever that has their kid engage in any transgender related activities or treatment as abusing the child. And they're going to potentially arrest the doctors, and they're going to, I guess, potentially take the child away from the parents.
Wow. Okay. That's a little crazy, a little extreme.
Yes, very extreme. This is to me pretty crazy because look, if you want to pass a law, pass a law, right? You got to do it through the legislative branch. You can't have like a medical procedure that the medical community, even if you have a problem with it, which I do, I have a big problem with affirmative care models and informed consent models, but you can't have procedures and treatments that basically nationwide the medical community agrees is useful for some cases, even if it's overused. You can't say that suddenly constitutes child abuse and that you're going to start taking children away from parents because they're doing what the doctor says. Right. That seems very that seems like a huge overstep of government powers essentially to do that.
Because the question is, there is this thing called gender dysphoria, and there are kids that will grow up and have gender dysphoria.
Right.
Then there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
The question is whether or not whether or not we're seeing false positives.
Yeah, exactly. That's the question, is whether it's being overblown or not. Yeah. And so to me, this law is a huge government overreach. And like, I was trying to think of a comparison. I couldn't really, if the government would, I'm trying to imagine in a blue state, if the government would come in and take your children away because you didn't get them vaccinated and say that that's child abuse, or do the opposite. If the government comes in, and we've heard, this, I don't know if this happened in America. I think there's some incidents of this happening in Canada where there was the fear of the government coming in and taking children out of parents' homes because they wouldn't give the kid transgender treatment. So
really?
This whole idea, so this whole idea of either direction, the government coming in and trying to take your child away because you're either not affirming gender treatment or because you are affirming transgender treatment. Just the whole thing seems totally screwed up in my mind.
Yeah.
And you got to do it from, you just got to say, if you want to not have kids do it, you say, we're going to pass a law, kids can't do it. And then the doctors won't, prescribe any of this stuff to anyone under 18. And that's the way you do it. You don't just have this weird executive administrative order that just suddenly, declares something this way that the rest of, the medical community is on board with.
Yeah. It's hard for me to say any of the motivation though is hatred of gay or transgender people.
Well, I don't think the motivation is because they hate the trans people.
No, they were legitimately worried about the children.
Right. That is the motivation. Sure. I
Yeah.
will, well, if we're being as good faith as possible, which I would assume is the case in the situation.
Right.
But
But you don't know if he's being good faith. You don't know
well,
if he
the way
deserves
that
good
it's
faith. Is he a
well, here's
jangles? Do we give him
the
bad
way
faith?
that it's being done, though. Like, just pass a law if you think if you really believe in this, you really want to protect children, do all this stuff. Just pass a law. You don't do it in this like really bizarre way. That's probably unconstitutional, which is why the judge stopped it. Well, even unconstitutional via the Texas state constitution, which is
Right.
why the judge said like this isn't it doesn't seem like this is how it's supposed to work. Because for years we've heard from it was always the right that would complain about executive overreach, taking powers out of the legislative branch, and the governor, the president sort of enacting laws and policies that they didn't have the power to enact. So whatever.
Yeah. This is such a terrible issue. It really is.
Yes.
Because you
Yeah.
don't necessarily know this, like each situation is going to be different, but the state
Right.
is just laying down some sort of blanket way to deal with everything. It's not going to work.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Let this, parents and the child and the doctors, make these decisions. They're going to make wrong decisions, and there's going to be a sacrifice that's made for that. But that's, in my mind, that's safer than having the government come in and make the decision for you. That seems like a really dangerous precedent to kind of walk down that road in either direction.
Well, I would side on I would lean towards non-interventionist type treatments, though. That's the
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So
Sure.
It's more about whether or not Abbott himself has the authority to pass legislation like this than it is any kind of official verdict on the legitimacy of trans healthcare. It's like issuing a health code violation on a deli serving human meat. And of course, this ruling is already being challenged.
So Cody is mad because he literally doesn't understand what the point of the courts are. Okay, the court is trying to determine whether Abbott has the ability or the power under the law to do this. It's not their determination whether something is morally just or not.
right.
Like, what the,
Yeah.
like it's so weird that he's criticizing the court for doing this, for doing their job, and just saying, "Well, we're just looking at the law here."
Yeah. That's all they can do.
Yeah. Well, no, he's mad that he's basically saying that this isn't enough, and he's mad that the judge is not like an activist.
That the judge should do more. Just
Yeah.
okay.
So it's still good for the moment, but also an extremely minor victory on a much larger and more horrifying scale, like a deli scale, built to weigh human meat. You see, despite this one order being overturned, this move is just a small part of a much larger wave of anti-trans and LGBTQ legislation sweeping across America.
It is weird that he didn't explain the law at all, because you think this would have been a huge win for him to be like, they're gonna go in Texas and they're gonna snatch children out of the hands of parents, and they're gonna prevent them from getting gender affirming treatment, and they're gonna kill themselves. Like, he could have made this could have been like a 10-minute rant.
They
He
don't
just-
understand any of that context.
I guess you're right. This is very like shotgun. Just let me throw as much numbers and headlines of articles as I can at you.
It's a very effective way to lie to people,
Right.
which really sucks.
Right.
In several states, we're seeing bills allowing people to deny adoption to same-sex couples. Kentucky is trying to allow government officials to refuse to acknowledge gay marriage based on their beliefs, despite being, government officials. And a handful of states are
See, and that's a weird one too, because there are parts of the law that I'm totally fine with. It's about, should religious institutions shouldn't have to necessarily, you don't have to bake the gay cake or whatever.
Right.
Or should religious institutions, have to, perform gay ceremonies or, blah, blah, blah. Or another one is like, should they have to pay for contraception and health insurance? Whatever. I think it's all pathetically lame, but whatever. I don't care. Let them do whatever they want to do. But there is one part of the bill that I think is kind of totally stupidly insane, which is they're trying to revert the whole Kim Davis situation, which is, so they're sort of trying to do it. They're saying if you're a government official, okay, so you're not working for a private entity. If you work for the state and you have to do something like write a marriage certificate for a gay couple, you can opt out of it if it's against your personal religious beliefs. And that's where I say, no, go fuck yourself.
Opt out as in they fire you?
No, like you can, as like if you're in the marriage certificate office,
Right.
and the gay couple comes in and you're Kim Davis, you can say, oh, it's against my religious belief to acknowledge gay marriage, so I'm going to go in the back room and some other employee here can come out and sign the
Sitch, we got another gay couple over here.
Right. Yeah. See, that's when I said, listen, there's a big difference between being a private entity, being a religious organization, and working for this state.
Yeah, you're a government representative.
Right. And this comes up a lot and this will come up in this video where it's like the left doesn't understand what public school teachers don't have free speech because they're arms of the government.
Right.
And it's the same thing with being any sort of government employee. If you're a government employee, you do give up, not like personally, but you give up some elements of your rights in your function of being a government employee. And yeah, it's like, just sign the stupid certificate. If you're a government employee and you can't sign a certificate, you can't put your fucking name on a thing to just say that you're witnessing something for the state, then guess what? Go find a new job. I don't care. Get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. Fire them.
Just fire them. Be gone.
Are dabbling with the idea that healthcare professionals should have the right to refuse treating people based on their personal beliefs, which is just...
What if you have a gay clerk, though, that comes up and says, oh, another cis couple?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, no. They would only work like 1 day a month, right? You just line up all the gay couples to come in when they're working. Oh, thank goodness.
And this one is this one, like, again, like I feel like it's such to do about nothing.
Government officials. And a handful of states are dabbling with the idea that healthcare professionals should have the right...
The Florida bill is such to do about
nothing. Did you read this bill?
Yeah, well, yeah, I did. And it's just like, first of all, obviously, doctors themselves should not have to perform anything they don't want to perform. Right? Obviously, we'd all agree to that, regardless of religious convictions, unless the person is like dying and you have to, you're the only doctor who to say that.
She's got a cell phone up her hoo-ha and you're like, I'm the only doctor on duty.
Well, okay, but like more realistically, some woman is dying and like you have to abort the baby or something to save her life. Right then and there, okay, fine, whatever.
Supposedly 2 women have died because the healthcare providers didn't want to provide an abortion because of these new laws. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Wait, how did they die?
They died because the baby died inside of them and they didn't want to take the baby out.
Did the doctor, they knew the baby was already dead? Why would they have a problem taking it out? That's not.
I guess it happens. Yeah. They didn't do it though.
I don't know. I had to look into that more because that's like those doctors. I mean, that seems weird or moronic because if the baby is dead, that you're not performing an abortion. You're just removing it from the person's body.
They mentioned it in that video that we watched, the Rising video.
Okay.
Yeah. We should look into it for Tuesday because I was immediately curious about that. I'm like, what? I think he mentions in here that only 35 women died of there was some claim in here where he talked about 35 women dying. I'm not sure. Maybe as another video I was watching. Let's continue.
I was going to say the bill's also, it's not just about doctors, but it's healthcare. It's also about healthcare providers and, people that like pay for your insurance. And again, this is just like if you work for some religious organization and they pay for your insurance, it's like, I don't know. I don't have such a big problem with this. I really don't have such a big problem with this. I think it's lame, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal, guys.
To refuse treating people based on their personal beliefs, which is just so incredibly vague and weird that it could be used to discriminate against literally anyone. And in Tennessee, they passed a law effectively forcing business...
But it's about, this is a problem with these sort of hyperbolic arguments. If the law says like based on your religious convictions, The law is being passed based on what is believed and understood to be normative religious convictions in today's world. If all of a sudden a religious sect pops up, like if Richard Spencer starts the white is right Christian movement, and they start saying, listen, we can, be racist against black people because it's part of our religious beliefs. I'm pretty sure they would start to make laws to address
curb that activity.
Yeah, to curb that activity, to address that. But we don't. That's not the situation right now. So like fretting over it now seems silly. But
This is the whole way you drive people to the polls, though, Sitch. You got to fret over it. You really got to get people angry, people super upset. All this could be solved. You could sit down in an afternoon and hash out, okay, this is cool to talk about. This is not cool to talk about. We have the school curriculum going forward. Done. But no, they will never do that.
This is the slippery slope argument on both sides here. This is why I don't like these arguments. Because it was like, so the right was like, oh, if you allow gay marriage, you can, fuck animals or whatever. You allow marriage to a ducks or something. And then the left is like, oh, if you overturn, if you provide religious exemption, for certain things, then you'll allow you'll allow people to be racist. Or, oh, if you don't, if you overturn Roe v. Wade, you're going to overturn gay marriage, right? Like there's always this slippery slope argument that's just like the slippery slope is only a slippery slope until someone stops it. And this is what always happens. Someone pushes something and then it passes or it doesn't pass. And then the next issue comes up and then it passes or it doesn't pass. There's not like this continual slope that once it starts going, it's just impossible to stop. That's not how any of this works.
Is it a slippery slope or is it people taking advantage? Just if you say that's okay, people will take advantage.
Well, it's just that people always, in both directions, are always pushing for new and different things.
I mean, the animal fuckers will feel emboldened and they'll be out in force.
Right. Well, yeah, there is an advantage. That is true.
The animal fuckers are always waiting in the wings. Yeah, exactly.
There are people that will just always take advantage. That's true. But they're always just waiting. And you can't let the crazy extremists on the fringes of issues dictate what is reasonable in the middle and in the center.
I feel like this whole video is a crazy extremist though.
Well, Cody is, yes.
Yeah. And he's got ads in here.
Yep.
It's insane.
Businesses to have a trigger warning on their doors if they happen to have co-ed toilets. For, I guess, any snowflake who doesn't understand the concept of family bathrooms, Tennessee also tried and failed to pass.
Okay. Now, if you have an okay groomer problem, you look at that bathroom sign. Really?
You don't like that bathroom sign?
No.
It's just a mom and a dad holding their child. What are you talking about, you pervert?
This is groomer all over it.
No, you're just a pervert, Adam.
Pass a bill that would, quote, prohibit officials from creating, enforcing, or endorsing policies that respect or promote non-secular, self-asserted, sex-based identity narratives. And I have no fucking clue what that is supposed to mean. It's like the cloud app.
So, wait, let's go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's slow it down.
I read that law, and I don't know what the fuck.
So you don't even know.
Well, it says non-secular, self-asserted sex-based identity. So doesn't that mean religious sex-based identity? What's a religious self-based identity narrative?
Creating, enforcing, or endorsing policies that respect or promote non-secular, self-assessed, sex-based identity narratives.
Yeah, I was like, I read, I was like, what?
Where's the case law on this?
The closest thing I could maybe discern from this was that I think this was either Tennessee or Kentucky. I think it was Tennessee. Was that there was like this weird movement in Tennessee that was like kind of like woke trans activists to try to gain rights, but they did it through trying to create like a religion and thus say it was like their religious right to do this. And they create some name for themselves. So I'm like wondering if this bill is just this very specific specifically targeted at that organization? They say you can't just do whatever you want under the guise of religion? Because that's the only thing I could kind of understand from the way this is worded.
So non-secular is religious, right? And self-assessed is like personal. So religious, personal, biologically sex-based identity narratives. I mean, that's just normal, right? That's just regular hetero cis.
No.
Well, minus the religious component, obviously.
Well, no. Because self-asserted sex-based identity narratives.
Oh, self-asserted.
Yes.
I have no idea what that means. What are they saying here, Sitch? I'm so confused.
I said I think there was like a woke organization that was trying to assert woke claims under the guise of a religion, and that's basically like a super targeted on just that organization or something.
So this is what you were saying, basically. You can't start a religion just to indulge whatever it is you want to put forward.
Yeah, you can't just say, "Oh, I want to do whatever," and it's a religion, so it's fine.
Right. Like a trans religion.
Right.
What's more, gender-affirming care, including puberty blockers as well as hormone replacement therapy and gender confirmation surgery, is shown to noticeably improve quality of life and decrease depression and suicidal ideation in trans adolescents. And most importantly, being transgender isn't a problem we...
See, none of that is contested. The whole problem of the debate is false positives. Cody, you piece of shit. Okay. Sure, you can say all that does helps trans teens. The question is, how are you identifying these trans teens?
Need to prevent or fix, and parents trying to affirm their children's identity aren't being abusive, Greg, you fucking Gumby. According to
they are being abusive, though, if the child does not have gender dysphoria. Right, Sitch? Is it abusive to label somebody with a misdiagnosis? I think it is. Giving chemotherapy treatments to healthy people who don't have cancer, I would classify as abusive.
You don't want to just radiate yourself and throw up for no reason?
Well, I mean, if it's like a game show or something, I'm going to win like $1 million. I mean, throw me in there. Give me some, I can take it. Give me some chemo.
Well, he said something else that's very important. I want to point out.
Therapy and gender confirmation surgery is shown to noticeably improve quality of life and decrease depression and suicidal ideation in trans adolescents. And
trans adolescents, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Cody doesn't know that you don't need to have gender dysphoria to be trans, though. He hasn't figured that one out yet. But anyway,
well, that's part of the problem is that trans and gender dysphoria, we have this Mountain Bailey thing where
totally.
Like in the public, they mean the same thing, but then when you get in the arguments with people, they say they don't mean the same thing. And
it's a bait and switch all the way. Yeah. He meant people with gender dysphoria when he said it there, but that's not what most people mean.
And most importantly, being transgender isn't a problem we need to prevent or fix.
Okay. You're an idiot, Cody. Being transgender is literally a problem for the person who's transgender.
Right.
That's why the suicide rate is so fucking high. Like this is why this looking at it like an identity instead of a mental illness or a medical condition, if you don't like the mental illness label, is so toxic. Because no, it literally is a problem. It's a problem that makes people kill themselves. That's why they get treatment. Like,
how dare
this doesn't
you,
make any sense.
They're just normal people.
Yeah, they are just normal people. If you have depression, you're a normal person. If you have anxiety, you're a normal person, but you have a problem. Okay, you have a medical condition, you have a mental illness, you need to seek treatment for it so you can get on with your life. That's the whole point of this, to get on with your life. So no, Cody, it does need to be fixed. That's why you have to get surgeries. That's why you have to take hormones to fix the problem. You idiots.
They just don't like it being categorized as a problem.
Well,
that's offensive to them.
What he means, I'm assuming, when he says fixed, but he's just so idiotic and irresponsible with his language. He means like when he says fixed, he means conversion therapy. Like you need to make them straight or something.
Right. Yeah.
But this is another issue too, and this is why thinking about it this way is so dumb. if there was a magic pill that you could take to make people that had gender dysphoria not have gender dysphoria, they should 100% take that pill. Okay. It's just that that technology doesn't exist yet.
Nobody says they want to take the pill, though, Sitch.
Well, listen, that's a different topic. But there is not, at least known so far, alternative treatments for people that actually have gender dysphoria that we know of that work. But they should be looked into, and that's another issue too. If it's an identity, you can't look into any of this stuff.
It's so bizarre because if you had that pill that would just get rid of gender dysphoria, and you would have literally 2 treatment options. You would say, listen, we can give you this pill. Gender dysphoria is going to go away. You're going to be totally comfortable with your biological sex assigned at birth. Everything is going to be good to go. But if you don't want to take the pill, you're going to have you're going to deal with medical appointments your entire life, surgeries. We're going to block your puberty. You're probably going to end up sterile. And people are going to be like, get that pill out of my face. Get that thing. How dare you? Life is suffering, Sitch. Who am I to say?
Okay.
No, people don't want to go the easy path. They want to go the hard path.
I don't agree. This is the truth of the situation. It's hard to accept. Okay, is that no one's gonna talk about or lay their hopes or accept like the hypothetical pill that doesn't exist because they are making they are walking down the hard path,
right?
And you kind of can't, and I don't even know if you can come back from the path. I mean, I guess you could, and so it's not psychologically, it would be psychologically not to their benefit to like hold out hope for some magic pill that may or may never exist.
So you're saying it's just too painful a thought experiment because they would jump at the chance to do the pill. The pill is...
Because we all know that if there was a magic pill that cured gender dysphoria, that would be the treatment option. There wouldn't be a justification for transitioning if there was a magic pill that did that at all. That's the reality of the situation. But but you can't talk about that.
I think people are perceiving of the transgender lifestyle as a journey, an epic quest.
It is, but that's because there's no alternative. Okay, like listen, you don't
look for an alternative to the epic quest. You go on the quest.
No, listen.
How dare you? How dare you belittle the quest?
I'm not that's not what I'm saying. I'm not belittling the quest.
Path of most resistance.
It's like if you're born deaf or blind or something, okay? That's going to make your life significantly harder, but it's better for you in that situation for your own mental well-being and for your own mental health to conceptualize it the way that you're saying. It's like, I'm on this journey, I'm on this quest, to live my life with this thing, right? And maybe you don't want to think of it as a disability or whatever. And it's better and healthier for you to live that way. And I accept all of that. But the second that they can fix whatever that problem is, that all goes out the window.
But what if you can't find a new quest?
You will find a new quest.
Are you sure? I mean,
yes, you will.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. That will all go out the window the second this can all be changed or fixed. And that's sort of the weird part about this whole situation.
You should watch that TikTok video because it kind of makes me think that the quest is really important to people. Makes me think the quest is more important than arriving at the destination.
That's part of the issue, is that I think a lot of people are searching for meaning in their lives. And this is part of the danger of this too.
I agree.
Especially young people. Young people are searching for meaning in their lives. And unfortunately, some people are conflating meaning in their life with being part of an oppressed class or group of people.
A lot of people are doing that, Sitch. It's
Yes.
actually a problem. I don't know. How do
Yeah,
we deal with that
right.
problem?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Sitch! This is why I come to you.
You get off the fucking internet, okay? You get a job. You create positive relationships with people around you. You find someone that you love. You start a family. I don't know. You have fucking real things to deal with.
How do I establish positive relationships with people around me when none of them believe the crazy shit I believe?
Well, that's the problem.
Listen, I'm trying to get them to believe what I believe, and that's where the problem always comes in.
Right.
Come on, I want a friend that believes this crazy shit.
But see, that's why, like,
just one friend.
When I made my gender dysphoria videos a million years ago, like, there's so many gender dysphoric people that were like emailing me like, "Oh, Sitch, you're so right. Like, I just want to transition and then move on with my life. I don't want to like wallow in my gender identity forever, the way like trans activists kind of want to make this out to be." And that's the thing. You just gotta move on with your life. Gotta find something else in your life. Okay.
I think you should email those people back and check in on them.
There you go.
Well, it's been forever. I'd be curious what happened.
That's true.
Yeah.
And parents trying to affirm their children's identity aren't being abusive, Greg, you fucking Gumby. According to the failing New York Times, Abbott's order...
They are being abusive if the kid is misdiagnosed. Listen, if you take your kid in for a cancer diagnosis and they misdiagnose the kid and you put the kid in chemotherapy, you are literally being abusive.
Hold on. You're not being abusive.
You are.
No, wait.
Because you're too cheap to get a second opinion.
Wait. Abuse, in my mind, requires intention or neglect.
That is isn't neglect the opposite of intention?
Well, no, because you're intentionally neglecting something, generally.
You fucked up already.
I did fuck up already. No, you're intentionally neglecting someone. You don't accidentally neglect your child and abuse them, right? Listen, you say, I care more about myself than my child. I'm neglecting them.
If I leave like a whole chocolate bar out, that's a marijuana edible and my kid eats it. That's not the type of neglect I'm talking about. That's abuse.
Okay.
Even though it was totally unintentional.
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if you have parents that are listening to doctors, they have trust in doctors. Okay. Right. You have some normie parents that have trust in doctors, and the doctors lead the child down the wrong path. I don't think you can say, well, the parents were abusing their children. I don't see how that's on the onus of the parents. They don't understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
You can say the doctor is being abusive. The doctor is being derelict in their duty. But I don't think you can say the parents are.
Right. Okay.
Is that fair? Do you agree with that?
It's a fucked up situation. It is.
Okay.
But I mean, if the parents aren't even thinking of false positives, I guess it's just too much faith in the medical community.
Listen, you have to think outside of our community.
No, I know.
Outside the internet. You have a bunch of normies out there. They don't know any of this shit. All they do is they turn on the news and they talk about these issues. None of the TV stations, outside of Fox News, maybe will talk about false positives or any of this other stuff or trans regret. And they'll all just paint a single picture.
This is why you got to call it child abuse. You just got to wake them up from their dogmatic slumber. You got to shake them out of it. You got to go, listen, this is child abuse. You're fucking up your kid's life.
Yeah, but okay. You're not focusing on the issue, though, because the issue is calling it abuse from the parents' perspective in order for the government. The reason that Texas did it the way they did it is because Abbott didn't think they could pass a law that outlawed this treatment options. And so he has to find a way to weasel it into some executive branch.
Well,
into
and
the
pre-existing law. There are laws against child abuse already.
Right, exactly. So this is the this is the way he thought he could weasel it into
Sure,
the
yeah.
pre-existing laws.
It's a pretty smart move. I mean,
Right.
to be honest with you.
I think it's despicable, but I
Right.
guess it's smart. I don't think it's smart because I don't think
It's
it's going to
smart,
work.
but it's dishonest.
Well, I don't think it's going to. It's not going to hold. I don't think it's going to hold up at all.
Right. But it is
So-
calling attention to his presidential aspirations, which is the real point. So
Maybe again, I think this is taking a sledgehammer to something that you should take a surgeon's knife to. So I'm not sure it'll be beneficial, but
managed to sow chaos and confusion amongst trans families and their medical providers before it was temporarily halted. Dr. Megan Mooney, a licensed psychologist whose clients include transgender children, as well as a plaintiff in the case to halt the order, testified to there being outright panic as the order caused children and their families to fear for their safety and forced medical professionals to choose between their legal duties and moral obligations. One mother, an employee of Texas's Family Protection Agency, who showed up to court in goddamn disguise, testified to being terrified for her trans daughter's health and well-being. And Rio Grande Valley resident Adamalis Vigil told the Texas...
I mean, and that's the thing too. I don't think anyone could reasonably say you're going to help children's lives by going to households who are already in the midst of doing stuff, have their kids on puberty blockers or whatever, because it was legal, and say, oh, we're going to take your children away from you. Like from thousands and thousands of families in Texas. We're going to just start taking your children away from you and putting them in foster care.
are there thousands of Texas children in trans?
I'm sure if the trans
programs?
rate's like what, 0.7%? That's in Texas, that's thousands of people.
Yeah, that is kind of
So
wowzers.
Tribune that her 13-year-old trans daughter Adeline is so terrified she will be forcibly separated from her mother that she doesn't even want to sleep in her own bed. Because in Texas, being found guilty of child abuse can come with a first-degree felony conviction and up to 100 years in prison and or a fine of $10,000, which seems...
This is just so horrifying because even if it's a false positive and the kid thinks they have gender dysphoria and the parents are affirming and they're both tackling it together,
this is going to make it worse.
being separated from your parents and thrown
Yeah.
into foster care is just, that's so fucked up.
Probably going to make it worse.
And the foster care system, I mean, it's not like, the foster care system is so messed up. It's not like you're putting them in a better situation. It's not like
Right.
you have a better situation just waiting in the wings.
Well, I mean, it's like it's kind of chance. Some people, have good experiences in the foster care system. Some people have really bad experiences.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of a roll of the dice. But
It's
also
super
like
sad.
This completely confirms with like all the worst fears and hyperbolic claims that the left makes about the right too, which is another reason why I think this order is really bad.
This video of a teacher talking about coming out...
Oh, this is the one I wanted to do.
This is the one you wanted to talk
Send it
about.
to me
Yes.
now.
Yes. Okay.
Is this a teacher?
Yeah.
What's he say?
as trans to her students?
So none of the kids knew me as trans, but I wanted to talk about it. So what I did is
It's a she, right? Am I getting that correct?
Yes.
Did I say the
said
dreaded he?
You said the dreaded he.
Did I? Oh, it was accidental, but this is, I mean, isn't she trying to pass as non-binary now though? So I mean, I can't
We'll get into that.
I can't be blamed for this.
as soon as I came back, I joined up with the GSA, realized how many questions the kids
This is pretty close to the non-binary experience for me. Do you think this person is hitting non-binary pretty much?
Well, hold on. Listen to what this person says, because this is like classic. This is actually like what the people that are worried about the grooming stuff. This is like an actual example.
This one we have to talk about for a long time.
Right.
Yes, I totally agree. But I want to ask you, aesthetically, it's pretty hard to tell if this person is male or female. So I mean, that's a non-binary aesthetic, right?
I guess that's what they're going for.
If you're going for, I'm just a huge question mark.
Yes, I want to be Pat. Is what they're going for.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's a win. I think it's successful.
If that's what their goal is.
Well, I don't. I look at this face, and I'm like, I could go either way.
Your brain's like question mark, question mark, question mark.
Right, exactly. No, I just see like the blue screen of death. I'm like,
Yes, there you go.
well, I can't. I'm trying to process. You know, the Terminator, when the Terminator screen comes up and you're like, it's like toggling back and forth
Yes.
between male and female.
There you go.
It's so fast.
Yes.
My processor's going to break.
Adam is really trying hard to figure out if this is John Connor or Jane Connor. He just, his Terminator brain can't handle it. It's going back and forth.
I'm just saying, until they put the non-binary option, they must have lost a lot of Terminators over this. They really must have.
That was the trick. See, that was, you didn't have to send naked Arnold Schwarzenegger back in time to save John Connor. All you had to do was get a sex change. That's all you had to do, and the robots would have never found him.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, here we go. I'm going to pay attention to what they say. Think sometimes you just need a they pronoun, don't you?
Go. There you go.
I'm just going to pay attention to what they say.
So none of the kids knew me as trans, but I wanted to talk about it. So what I did is, as soon as I came back, I joined up with the GSA, realized how many questions the kids had, and decided the best thing to do would be to host a Q&A.
Grooming again. The account made...
Okay. So there's some information that cut out too. So what she says in the beginning of the video is that she transitioned before ever coming to the school, which is why she said the kids didn't know.
Right.
So this is an individual who transitioned, who was passing, who no one knew she was trans, and still had felt the need and desire to, in her middle school, I believe she works in middle school, set up a meeting where kids would come and she would tell them about transitioning.
Right. All the kids just believed she was a cis female.
Right. And the parents obviously not happy about this.
Right. They're like, what the fuck?
This was not in the school curriculum. You just did this fucking on your own. What the hell are you doing? Blah, 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 blah.
Not only that, you're a role model. So if the kids look up to you, they're going to think, oh, I want to grow up and be just like you.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And so anyway, so the thing we'll watch is not this video, but she has another video that to me is so incredibly telling about everything that I think I have a problem with this stuff.
Are we gonna watch it on
I've had
TikTok?
a lot of people asking me lately how I decided.
Let's see. We're at 26:21. I'll see if it goes in the watch together. I assume it does not, but let's find out.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
I've had a lot of people asking me lately how I decided to make the switch from a binary trans woman to a non-binary trans girl, what that looked like, what the decision-making process was like, and it's a hard thing to talk about because I can't fully pull myself away from the invalidation of my own gender that I do to myself. I would never say these things about other people, but I am not very forgiving to myself, and so I'm going to try as much as possible to be understanding and be accepting of my gender in this video. So the first thing you need to understand is for the vast majority of people I interacted with in the first half of my transition, they didn't see me as a girl. When you don't pass, people humor your gender identity. They don't believe it. They'll be like, oh yeah, you're totally a girl, but they don't really mean that. You can tell they don't think that. You can tell in how many times they make mistakes in gendering and all that stuff. And so when I wasn't like fully meshing in all girls spaces, well, that felt understandable because I didn't pass as a girl. And so why would they treat me as one, right? Again, it's internalized transphobia, but it made sense to me. And so once...
Are we pausing? I paused. Sitch. You can't mute yourself like that.
It's paused.
Did you pause?
I paused
okay.
it. Yes. What do you want to say?
I'm losing my mind here.
You like the it's internalized transphobia that people didn't recognize me as a girl when I wasn't passing.
Right. Well,
Okay,
and
that's where we're at.
right. And she's in women's spaces and they're perceiving her as a man. And they're getting triggered about that.
Well, no, it's even worse than that. She's saying that they're doing what they should do. They're being polite and acknowledging her as a woman, but she can tell that they don't really see her as a woman.
Right.
You know, she can sense some unease, or she can sense something going on here, and that's internal transphobia.
Right. Internalized transphobia.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Once I started
So ready?
passing, I expected things to get easier, and they did. People started
Ready?
treating me more like a
Hello?
girl, but I realized I
Adam.
I hit play a long time ago.
Oh my god, you fucking piece of shit.
I wonder if I can tap back and
Forget
doesn't
it.
seem to rewind. Here, you catch up. Go ahead. I'll give you a few seconds. 3, 2. Okay, I'm going.
wasn't fully comfortable
Okay,
with that
unfortunately,
either.
you've talked
I didn't
over like
the
literally
fact
the most
that
important part of the video.
Well, I'll back it up.
Okay.
Here. Let's back it up to, I'm at 57 right now.
Go back to like 110.
No, I'm going to start at 57.
Okay.
And we're going to get it all.
57's fine.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
understandable because I didn't pass as a girl. And so why would they treat me as one, right? Again, it's internalized transphobia, but it made sense to me. And so once I started passing, I expected things to get easier, and they did. People started treating me more like a girl, but I realized I wasn't fully comfortable with that either. I didn't like the fact that people would treat me entirely like a binary girl. I have distinct memories of this one class in grad school that was all women, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I just didn't like being lumped in with everyone else there. The biggest moment for this was when I was with my ex-boyfriend
Okay,
and
wait,
two of his
pause
trans
it.
friends.
Okay. What the? This is like, this is it. This is the peak insane gender bullshit. Okay. You have an individual who claims they have gender dysphoria. They successfully transition. They accomplish what many trans women desperately want.
Right.
Okay. They successfully transition into a trans woman who passes so well that they're sitting in a class filled with cis women. And apparently, I guess no one knows that she's a trans woman, or she thinks no one knows that she's a trans woman. And that bothers her.
Right.
She's upset by it. She's like, wait a minute. I don't want to just be one of the girls. I want to be special.
I am special. God damn it.
I want to be different. No.
I'm just
Oh
like
my
everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen.
This video says it all. When you sent it to me, I was like, this is insane.
This video says it all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it seems as though she doesn't really have gender dysphoria, because a lot of people would describe the experience she had as gender euphoria.
Yes.
Where she's passing in front of a bunch of her peers and nobody knows. They all recognize her as a cis woman.
This person probably doesn't fucking have gender dysphoria.
Right.
You're exactly right. I don't think this person has gender dysphoria. I think this person wants to be fucking special and unique and wants to replace what I said in the beginning of the stream. Okay, this person wants to replace gender identity for a fucking personality.
Right.
And they're like, I want to be special. I want to be unique. And it's just it's I can't fucking believe this. Like, if I was a trans woman, I would have fucking lost my goddamn mind if I heard some idiot say this.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, you've accomplished the thing that I want, and you're like, oh, hey, man, I don't like this. I want to be special. I want people to look at me differently. It's like, this is so more. Oh, I didn't like it when women looked at me and they didn't accept me as a woman. But now that they do, I realize I don't want that either. I want to be my own magical category of magical animal, magical being. Like,
You're so triggered.
when I heard this, it was so triggering to me. I was like, fuck you, you fucking idiot. This is a real problem that people have to deal with. And you're just like, I want to be different. God.
In the TikTok, it says gender is a hard thing to define. So here's me trying my best.
Right. I didn't like that people define me as a cis woman. I gotta be non-binary now.
This is defining for 99% of the population. I don't think gender is a hard thing to define, though.
No, it's not.
It's not hard at all.
No,
It really is.
pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Most people just define it and move on to other things. Yeah.
Right.
It's like boys have the ding dong and girls have the JJ. You learn it from your folks before you're ever even in school, right? I mean, that's a conversation you have early on.
Let's see. Let's finish the
Okay.
rest. I don't remember if she says anything
I'm
else
at
crazy.
139. Where are you at?
134.
Okay, we're close.
So yeah, just hit it.
And they were talking about being trans and non-binary and all this stuff, and they were excluding me from the trans discussion. These two people who I had never met before thought I was a cis woman, and so they were pushing me out from my own gender, my own.
You can't take it. You're so fucking triggered.
Oh my god. She's like, oh, I was so upset. Oh, my boyfriend. You're talking to trans people, and they're talking about trans issues. And no one thought I was trans, and I was so sad. They just thought I was a cis woman. Oh, boo.
Was she talking to her boyfriend, and her boyfriend doesn't know she's trans?
Well, she said her boyfriend's trans friends didn't know.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Right. So the boyfriend is not saying that, by the way, my girlfriend is trans.
Who the fuck knows? I don't know what the fuck's going on in this conversation.
The boyfriend, maybe. Why aren't you telling them I'm trans? Baby, I don't want them to know.
It's like, what do you mean? Like, I thought that's what you wanted. This is what they fucking want. This is what they want, is to just walk around and not be seen as trans. She has the thing that the fucking people want.
No,
I didn't want it because I want to be part of the special club. I want fucking special. I
want to know what do you think of the dysphoria as the hashtag in this? Dysphoria is her hashtag.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, like this person does not have gender dysphoria.
Sitch
is fucking insane.
Sitch is totally on the beat. Oh, are we gonna get busted for this music? Oh man,
I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't think so. Probably
Let's
not.
hope not.
This video is insane.
I feel like we are, but who cares?
This video is insane.
If the stream goes down, you know it was the song. Ready?
Right.
I'm at 156. What are you at?
151.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Of my experiences, they were saying, oh yeah, us transes, not you. This is our experience, not yours. And that made me so uncomfortable. I had been trying for years to be seen as a cis woman, and now that it was happening, I hated it. I couldn't take it. It made me so uncomfortable that people were seeing me the way that I was trying to be seen. I started really questioning.
Pause. I mean, this isn't a trans thing. This is a human thing. This is like, when you achieve the goal. I mean, this is psychology 101. Once you achieve the goal, you're like, okay.
I take it back, Adam.
What?
This person's obviously a woman, because that's the most female shit I've ever heard.
So you think they do have dysphoria?
I finally got what I wanted, and I realized I didn't want it anymore.
Right. That's a human thing.
I know. I'm just being
a sexist piece of shit, but it's funny. Sexist,
so we'll allow it.
But yeah, striving for something is more tangible and meaningful than actually achieving it. It's sad that we live in that's part of our reality as human beings, but it's very understandable. It's weird though if your goal is to if your goal is to be like, if you get a cancer diagnosis and your goal is to be cancer free, I think it's a much different situation. You're not sulking over achieving your goal. You're like getting back to your normal life. Right?
Yes.
This is kind of a weird situation.
It is. It's very weird. The whole thing is weird and terrible.
I'm at 218. What are you at?
I'm at 218.
Okay. Woo! Look at this.
We did
3, 2, 1, go.
Questioning whether or not I was doing things because they made me happy, or if I was doing things because they helped me pass. The way that I dress, the way that I affect my voice, the way that I refer to myself, the way that I'm comfortable now being referred to as things like guy or bro, as long as it's coming in a kind of gay way, Once I started embracing all these things about myself, I started realizing, yeah, maybe being binary just isn't me. It wasn't an easy change, and there are still times when I'm not sure about my
realizing
identity, but
I'm not trans.
I like the way now that when I identify myself, it makes me feel happy and free and not uncomfortable and confined. I've had a lot of people asking me lately.
Oh my god.
I
Fuck
feel
you.
like
Fuck
I've
you.
learned so much. I think Remy is my new spiritual advisor. I think yeah. Well, how do you feel about this person teaching school children?
This person should not be anywhere near children. She doesn't understand herself, let alone how to teach a fucking child anything.
Isn't this
And she wants to wait. This fucking idiot wants to tell kids about her trans experience. Trans experience is like counter fucking most trans people's trans experience. Like, what the fuck?
it's so bizarre. There's like this real narrow set of experiences that most people are not going to have.
Right.
This person has had those experiences and then has an even narrower set of experiences that virtually nobody's going to have.
I know.
But yet, here she is in a TikTok explaining this is gender. Gender is hard to define, so here's me trying my best.
This is gender. Well, what is it? I don't fucking know. I don't even know what I want. It's like, oh my god.
This isn't this. You're not defining gender. You're defining indecisiveness.
Yeah,
okay.
right. She's like, I just wanted to be special. Listen, I thought I had gender dysphoria, okay, but then I realized I just wanted to be unique and special, and I got mad that like some people, you know,
They
didn't think
see
I was
me.
special. They thought I was a boring old lady. Fuck. Fuck.
I'm going
Fuck.
back to non-binary. I wonder if I can
Yeah.
pass as non-binary.
I believe it, Adam. Listen,
I'm gonna try.
know-
I just
you
for
won't
the
know unless you
experience of
try,
it.
Adam. Okay.
Yeah, no, it
Do
sounds
it
fun.
for the stream.
I did. There is. Kyle, is it Kyle Dunnigan? I always, I never hear him say his last name. I think it's Kyle Dunnigan. Kurt Metzger hangs out on his stream. They use these face apps, and I've thought about. I got to figure out how to do the face app when I can, so I can look like a woman on command.
Yes.
And just because it'll be fun, because it'd be fucking fun as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's on my list of things to do. I got to finish the comic first. The comic is taking over my life. I've had
Right.
very little sleep. I'm very sleep deprived these days because I'm working on the comic incessantly. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with the comic like Remy is obsessed with passing as non-binary. Okay.
Passing as I like that. Passing as non-binary, whatever the fuck that means.
Well, it's you got to admit,
Yes.
non-binary is probably the hardest to pass as.
Yeah, because it does. No, it's not. That's the easiest. No one, because you do whatever the fuck you want.
You think?
Yes, you just do whatever you want.
I think Remy has kind of nailed it. I look at that face and I think, I don't know if that's a guy or a dude, a guy or a girl.
There you go.
I don't know. I can't tell.
This person's a moron.
It's definitely, I guess people are into that now. That's a win.
Listen, I won't listen. I will be accepting. Okay. I don't identify them as a man or a woman. I identify them as a dumb fuck.
You're so evil. If it's got to be tougher for gay people, because if a gay person finds another person attractive, they don't know if they're gay or not. Like, that's the first hurdle, is, oh, is that person gay? And I just imagine 99.9% of the time it's, no, that person is straight, and you're just like, okay, not really an option for me. But how many people walk into a room and they think, oh yes, I really wanted to date a non-binary person. I'm so glad there's this non-binary person here
Right.
that I can date. Well, I guess
But how weird is that? Why, who's like, okay, I want to make sure I go out and date a non-binary person.
right.
That's got to be some virtue signaling bullshit.
You don't
Like,
think it's
what do you mean? You're specifically looking for a non? I don't even know what does that even mean?
See, my dating software is severely out of date though, because nowadays all dating is done via dating apps. So the dating, you just select. You're like, what are you talking about, Adam? There's a million gay people on Tinder, on Grindr, wherever you go to meet gay people. You just there's an infinite selection of gay people. So meeting people at a party was not really. That's a thing that young people no longer do. Hey, do you meet people in public? Do you go out, like, say, go out with your friends and have drinks and think I might meet somebody?
I'm sorry.
Have you ever?
I was distracted. I opened Twitter.
Oh, there are people.
Jangles
tweeting.
finally responded to me calling him out.
The current legislative pushes aim to permanently confine queer people, especially trans people, to the informal economy, and in some states actively criminalize their existence. Fire the teacher for saying he's gay? They want people to be afraid to exist, is what they want. If the push succeeds, if these bills pass in any way...
You can't talk about gender identity to 8-year-olds. That means we don't want you to exist at all.
It's so disgusting. I mean, it's so terrible. They basically, if you present any argument against them, they turn you, they demonize you. Demonizing is all they have.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, listen, they don't want you to talk about Jesus and Christianity to 8-year-old kids in public school. That means they don't want Christians to exist at all.
I know, it's the same thing. That's a crazy argument.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb.
Is that an argument Christians would make? Maybe.
I hope not. I'm sure someone's made it sometime. Yeah.
Is this the war on Christmas? Maybe.
This is the war on Christmas.
They don't want Christmas to, but they really don't want Christmas to exist.
There you go. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your incredibly generous donations. Thank you for making it to the end with us on a journey of just terrible Cody Johnston garbage. And hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Mother's Day and Monday, and we'll see you all on Tuesday.
Bye-bye. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.